You're locked back in. That was Blinded by Your Grace by Stormzy. We played that one just to set the vibe, to set the tune. Divine is, it's low. So basically, if you can hear ringing, we're just calling our guest, which is Melissa. Divine, do you want to introduce Melissa?
Yeah, Melissa is my older sister, and she's our special guest for this show. As the topic that we're talking about, she can definitely identify with that topic. Can you hear us, Mills?
I can. Oh, yeah, I'll turn it.
Oh, I can't even hear you.
Lucky.
There you go.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, live.
Okay, so we're just going to introduce the topic for today, guys. Today's topic is a little bit on the deeper side of life. It's obviously cold outside, so we've decided to talk about the issue of homelessness. And obviously, it just doesn't take a lot to be homeless. And I just think that we just thought we'll bring it, we'll just bring a bit more awareness to it as the Microwave Podcast, because it's just really important. I think, I don't know if you guys ever take public transport or walk around on the streets. You know, you get people asking you for things all the time, and it's just that thing of being mindful. That's the word.
Yeah. And changing the perspective, because it's not always when you see a homeless person, you just straight away just think, go away. Do you know what I mean? Like, understanding how they end up in that position, and that it's not hard, to be honest with you, how to end up in that position.
So even though it's a bit of a sensitive topic, we're still going to be giving you the rawest opinions. But before we start, we're going to just give you some stats. So nationally, 1 in 200 people are homeless, and that's by The Guardian, and that was published in 2018. And there's a character... Oh, gosh, am I going to read this? Can you read this?
Is that from Street Life?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool, I'll read it. So, Street Life UK, not sure if anybody knows of them, but they are a Manchester brand, but they are a charity also that work around the UK. And they let us know that one of the things that we should do, or sort of change our perspective on homelessness, this is what they said. They said, homelessness in 2019, unfortunately, can affect anyone and everyone. We have met many people who have become street homeless for various reasons: divorce, illness, leading to a chain of events, unable to pay rent, trauma, etc. Not one story is the same. There are figures out there which say we are only 2 paychecks away from being homeless. No one should have to be homeless in this day and age. We do our outreach in London, where Westminster Council is one of the richest boroughs, but yet hundreds attend our outreach just to eat and have something hot to drink. You can help bring some relief to anyone you see sleeping rough by asking them if they need a hot drink or some food. Many will be happy if you even stop to show some kindness. So that's Street Kind, actually, sorry. So Street Kind UK, so they're a London-based charity. And yeah, that's what their basically advice was for anybody who does see a homeless person on the street, what you could do.
Okay, so now as we start to defrost, which is obviously the bulk of this, the main segment of the show, which is where we talk about whatever we talk about. Melissa's on the line. Melissa, whoop whoop. Hi. Yeah. Do you want to turn it up, Divine?
Yeah, it's pretty high, to be fair.
Okay, Melissa, use your loud voice, which we all know you have. So at this point, the reason why we've got Melissa on the show is just because obviously, Melissa, this subject is close to home, right? Do you want to introduce it, or shall I?
You can.
Okay. So obviously, Melissa went through a stage in her life where she was obviously homeless, and we just thought it's right. You know, we can't all talk about it, and we don't know what it's about and what it's like, really. So Melissa's on the show.
Maybe I think it's good to understand. So I think that maybe we should come up with a perspective of how did you end up in that position as being homeless. If we start from there, that would probably be easier for people to understand.
Okay, so first of all, I got my first place when I was 19.
Yeah.
Lovely 3-bedroom house, huge back garden, huge front garden, beautiful. Me and my daughter, she was 2 when I moved in there. And I lived there for 7 years. I decided, which is sort of going off topic, but not really, but it's just my perspective as a single parent, a real single mother. I decided that I wasn't going to go to work. Some people might see it as for me, but personally, because I'm a single mum, I just thought I'd have to make sure that I'm in my child's life all the time and available for her all the time, rather than just thinking about just making money and going out, and school's half raising her, and after school clubs and breakfast clubs are raising her, and then she's seen me just a small portion of the day.
100%.
And then just the weekend. So I decided that I would stay home until she was 7. In between that time, obviously, I was doing little things to try, for the future and what I'm going to do. So I wasn't just sitting there doing nothing. But basically, after 7 years, I decided that because I had a passion, I still do have a passion of helping people that suffer with mental health issues and stuff like that. So I went and did support work for mental health adults. And I went into a 0-hour contract and didn't realise how dangerous that can be for some people. I wouldn't say everybody.
Yeah.
But for some people, it is. I mean, if you live in, home with parents or you house sharing or whatever, it's probably not so bad. But even then, if you're not paying any rent, basically, it's not so bad. But when you start paying rent and it's like, they've got all the hours for you, but then all of a sudden they don't have the hours for you or whatever.
Risk.
So basically, I was still getting my housing benefit paid. I still had to pay some of my council tax, but I was getting my housing benefit paid. But then things got confusing and the housing benefit they stopped paying the rent, and I wasn't aware because I thought that when things like that happen, they'd obviously send you a letter because you know how people like to send letters all the time. I thought they would have sent a letter, so I didn't know anything about it until 7 weeks later. So 7 weeks later, I get a letter from my housing, the council saying to me that I've not paid rent for 7 weeks. Now, bearing in mind, look at how these people work, because every week they get paid their rent, not every month. So instead of them waiting 2 weeks or to say that the rent hasn't been paid, they waited 7 weeks. So at this time, I had left work early anyway, spoke to my boss, left work early to go to the council to give them, I think the rent went up to probably about £700, 700 and something. So I went there to give them £250 because that's all I had at the time until I got paid next. The lady told me that she's taking me to court and stuff like that. And so, because I spoke to other people about it and they were like, oh no, they'll just take you to court and then the court will decide like what you can pay and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's fine. Obviously, I wasn't in that situation before.
Yeah.
So I'm just listening to people whose parents had been in that situation, some big people that I knew that had been in that situation, and they were like, oh yeah, I've been in like £3,000 arrears and just went to court, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. So when you went,
was saying no.
When you went to court, what happened? What did they say?
Well, before I went to court, because of what the advice that I was given by those people, when I went to the council to give them £250, I thought they were going to be like, okay, being as you're willing to give us this, it's not a huge lump sum, but this lump sum of money now, today, then we won't bother with court because you just have £500 left to pay, and obviously when you get paid, you just pay us whatever, payment plan we can do. That's what I thought was going to happen. But unfortunately, that did not happen. The lady was quite rude and obnoxious and told me that she's still taking me to court. So I was thinking to myself, well, from the advice I got from other people, going to court, it will be fine anyway. So I thought, well, let me not just give her the £250, then I need that anyway. I was literally giving her my last money at the time. So I thought I'll just take it with me and then just go to court and take the advice that everybody else has given me. So when I got to court, the judge basically said, I spoke to a person, they've got a little, advice person there. Spoke to that person and whatever, but the judge ended up telling us to come back because the housing, which is very stupid, very unprofessional, they didn't come with the protocol.
Yeah.
So the judge couldn't do anything about it. But in between that time, they said that I should pay a certain amount, like a small amount, every week. And then I think the next court, they would have been like 2-3 weeks later. So other bills got into the mix, car insurance, this, that, and the other, daughter and everything. So I missed a payment, or I missed 2 payments. And then the third week, I paid the 2 weeks previous and that week. So they got their money before the court date. So
how did it end up getting to a point where basically they had to remove you out of the house? How did they get to that point?
So basically, the housing benefit, because I was supposed to put in a housing benefit application all over again.
Yeah.
And the housing lady, my home officer at the time, told me that I should wait because they want to see if I'm eligible.
Okay.
So she was going to fill out the whole booklet because she was explaining to me it's a long-winded booklet, as you already know because you've done it before, blah, blah, blah. So I'm taking her advice as a professional, my housing officer. So she made me end up handing in the housing benefit form late. So by the time I've reached to court for the second day, the housing benefit form had been put in, but they they were saying it hasn't been processed. So on that same day, I left that other job and I went to another job and I got the job on the spot, working as a contact supervisor. So the judge was like, basically, how are you going to pay for the rent? As far as I'm concerned, you don't have a job right now because you've left the other job. I said, yeah, but I've just come back from a job interview and I got the job on the spot. He's like, where's your proof of interview? So I'm like, I didn't know. Like, I can give you the number, you can check with them. He's like, well, that's not my responsibility to check and phone up anybody. As far as I'm concerned, right now, today, you don't have any proof, and your housing benefit form has not been processed. So, no, the house is gone.
What?
And that was it.
Boy. And
That's soon as, sorry,
Yeah.
that's soon as you come out the court?
I had 20 days to leave.
So
And nobody helped me with any form of temporary accommodation. They sent me to all kind of places like Salvation Army, and if you know anything about Salvation Army, which I didn't at the time, I got to know when they told me to go there. Salvation Army is for men, and Salvation Army is a place where you can go there early in the morning. They'll give you a room, but tomorrow you're not guaranteed a room. They'll get back in line the next day, which I didn't know that. But I'm a female anyway, so I wouldn't have been able to go there. So I ended up bonking until
go on.
I had to get back into the system again, and then I just literally had to just push my way. But it took me about 3 years,
So you was homeless for 3 years?
basically.
what is bunking?
Sister's house, friend's house.
Yeah,
Things don't
yeah.
work out because two big people in a place that don't
And
get a lot.
That's one thing that to bring to mind as well. Like, there's so many different types of homelessness. I feel like people would just think homelessness, you're on the street. Do you know what I mean? Rough sleeping.
Yeah.
There's loads of different types. I don't know if you have like friends who come and stay at your house, and it's one of them ones where if you don't let them stay at your house, real talk, they don't have anywhere to go. It's a little bit like Chade. I don't know if anybody watched what's it called? Rap Game UK on BBC Three. Chade was saying that he was homeless, but he wasn't necessarily out on the street, so loads of people don't take that seriously. But he's basically saying that if I don't have a friend, a brother, a mum, do you know what I mean, who's gonna let me out, I'm gonna be on the street.
So them people that we're seeing, they haven't got no one.
Yeah, and I think it's so simple. Like, you know what you're saying there? It just seems like, I don't know if anyone's ever dealt with, like, it could be anything, like insurance companies or phone companies, and before you know it, your phone's cut off, and your phone is cut off just because a miscommunication, or you miss one payment here and there. And this is what I'm saying, it's so simple, and before you know it, on the road. But my thing that I was like wanting to talk about is like, I feel like people judge for people to be able to help a homeless person or give money, they always want to like deep the reason as to why the person's homeless.
Yeah.
I'll put my hands up.
How do we feel about
I'll
that?
put my hands up. I don't know. It's just one of them things. Obviously, the first thing in my head is, if I'm going to give money to help, this is what I'm saying, is I've got no problem with helping you. And I like food, so I don't like people going hungry. You get what I'm trying to say? But I just think, where's the money going? The areas that are growing and where I'm seeing people that are homeless, majority of the time it's going on drugs or alcohol.
Obviously, Melissa, you don't have a bell, so every time you want to interject, just shout.
Yeah, or say ring or something.
I agree with him. I personally have been in a situation where I was way younger at the time, but I had given my last £5 to somebody, and I had to go back through Birmingham Town Centre to go and grab something, and I came back, and the girl that I gave the money to, who was sitting outside of the tram stop, she actually got from there and was kitted out fully. So some people do this for a living, so it's kind of like, we can't differentiate whether it's that kind of person or not. What I would say is, I only give food. I only give food. I will tell you, you're hungry, and I will take you to this whatever shop
100%.
you need. I will never ever give money ever.
But then
sometimes, why is it,
sometimes they come to you, because I get that a lot as well. Sometimes they come to you and they're like, I've got to catch this tram, or I've got to catch this bus, I just need 50 pence to on the bus fare.
100%.
In a case like that, do you say, no, I'm not giving it because actually I want to give him food?
No.
Or are you going to wait for him to get on the bus?
I would. If I have to wait for them to get on the bus, I will wait for them to
just pay it on the bus.
Yeah, unless you're in a rush, but you can't really.
I don't really know, like,
because people are genuinely homeless, but you can't nowadays. There's too many scammers, and you can't tarnish everyone with the same brush. Hence why you shouldn't just not do anything, but just do what you can. But I don't think it's right, because they will go all day and ask for £50, and by the time you look, they've got like £100 for the day, because everybody's feeling sorry for them, and they are buying drugs or alcohol.
But then my thing is, why is that my business? What if they are buying drugs and alcohol? Like, I know it's so controversial. I'm not saying it's good for them, but what I'm going to say is, if I was outside on the concrete floor at whatever, like right now I'm freezing. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
I didn't wait for you, man, at the station just because it was too cold for me to wait. I tried to wait, but it was too cold. I'd rather move. So actually, I would rather be intoxicated. I don't care. You can ask me any day.
It's a getaway, innit?
It's a getaway. Why should I stay? Why are you forcing me to stay on the route so much?
You're helping them kill themselves by doing that.
But I can't help you any other way.
And in a way as well, it's a thing where it's like you're almost helping them sort of like stay in that position, because it's like if they know, because a lot of homeless people, I remember I watched a documentary, and a lot of homeless people will rather be out on the street than go to shelters because they make more money on the road.
Yeah.
They actually make pee on the road, so they'd rather be out on the road.
But in that sense, I need to be voting for the right party.
A big point is, and I learned this when I did a counselling course, because I was, you know, very big from my experience. I was very big on that help them, blah 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 blah. But you know, there's loads of places you can go. You can go to the job centre. It's England, blah. That was my attitude. But when I did my counselling course, the lady let me know that some homeless people, it's a mental health issue because of the fact that that's what they've adapted to. And they don't want to, not because they make more money on the road, which is a point as well. But there's a lot of them that is their life, and that's what they're used to. If they did anything else, they wouldn't even know how to.
Oh, it's just the norm for them to be on the road.
Okay.
Ages to get my head around it. So
We have input.
Spectrum as well.
We have input on social media. Somebody says, I don't mind what they do with the money, as so long as they have a moment and they have that break. At one point, they will get given the money and use it wisely. If I want to give, I will give and leave it to God.
Also, as well, somebody from there's a charity in Birmingham. I think they do it all over, but it's called Let's Feed Brum. And one of their representatives also did say, for the show, for me to read it on the show, they said, homelessness is sometimes not always by drugs/alcohol, for example. I've worked with a man who became a rough sleeper because he was involved in and lost his family to a house fire. The devastation caused him to have PTSD, and he has not been able to live in a house ever since.
You see?
Then she said, the best way to
That's
interact
mad.
with a homeless person, if you do not have anything to give them, is to acknowledge their existence when you see them asking for money.
Yeah.
They already have to go through the embarrassment of throwing away their pride to ask others, so just saying, sorry, I have no cash on me, or I don't have anything to give, or stopping to speak to them can at least save them some embarrassment, as you do not know their story or where they come from.
That's where I think I'm at fault as well. Because you see, like when I see
Don't
them,
think of that.
when even though like I genuinely want to help them, and I do help them, but they probably can clock the energy or how I am, that I don't really want to be that close to them or around them. Like it's just quick. Yo, you can have the food. I'll get you the food. There's no issue in getting the food, but no conversation, no longer conversation. Like I'm not actually taking them in. Like they're just a homeless person. I'm gonna do this and get off.
Yeah.
You get what I'm
I
trying to
once
say?
really struggled because I went to church help the feeding homeless, and like they were eating from real plates. Like everyone was eating from real plates, and at first I had to check myself, to be honest, because I was a little bit like, I feel that some type of way, you know, when people even leave like a teacup behind you, you know, like just getting close by. But then I thought, like if I'm gonna do this, I'd obviously put myself up like to volunteer. If I'm going to volunteer, I need to be volunteering well. And it's that thing, like if you're gonna give anyone, do you know what I mean? There's nothing worse than asking someone for a favour and they give you a shabby job.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
100% pointless,
like,
innit?
Try help with like the wholest heart, or like really try to help. And another thing that homeless people don't like, that I've experienced is one time I must have been like very ignorant of me, but I was walking and I was like to the guy, oh sorry, I don't have anything, and he was like, I didn't ask you for anything. Boy, I was like,
I love that. I love that, because automatically you assume that they're going to ask you for something, when these times I didn't ask you for nothing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, literally.
They could have been like, oh, do you know where this place is? And you're like, no. And these times you don't even know what you said.
do you know what? And he didn't say anything. I literally was walking past, I was like, oh sorry. And he's like, for what? I didn't ask you for anything.
Oh,
But do you know,
he was in the room.
you're so bad. No, do you know what? I felt bad for walking. You know, like you feel bad for walking past. It's like you didn't acknowledge, man, or da. And sometimes I genuinely don't have anything. So I was like, oh, sorry, you know, as you do, as I did, and he was not impressed. And I had to go back. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm actually so sorry.
But at the same time, just playing devil's advocate as well. But obviously in his situation and whatnot, he's not going to be in the best mental state or whatever. But he has to really... And they have certain spots, like, you know, if you bust a certain corner, you're going to see a homeless person there or whatever and blah, blah, blah. He should know, or have in his head and think, all right then, this ain't the first homeless person I've come across, you get what I'm trying to say, and tried to help. So being a bit cheeky, kind of be a bit understanding as well, man.
Yeah.
But it's...
Yeah. I think in terms of the stopping just to say how you're doing, even if you don't want to give them money, I think that point of acknowledging that they're actually still human beings.
Somebody said, I also agree with Divine. I agree with what Divine just said. I think you should always be nice to people, no matter who it is,
1,000%.
until they give you a reason not to be. And of course, treat everyone like a human at the end of the day.
Yeah. Somebody said as well, King Mac, he said, you can't give a homeless person money because you'll never know what they'll spend the money on. The last bit of change you give them could literally be the last piece of drugs they buy that kills them. And you'd more time never know, but there's still a possibility that can happen. Better to buy them food or clothes, etc. And
Okay,
that's
but
what you were saying.
let's say, but Divine knows, yeah, like, I will usually, if I can, you know, like, money is a thing that you do when you don't really have time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You just, if I've got
100%.
coin, boom. If I do have time, like when I say you volunteer and you really go spend that time with them and you do up, you know, you give your clothes to charity, you
Go
you go feeding, yeah, you go
yeah.
talk. But when you don't have the time, sort of thing, am I going to say no? How do I know that person's not saving their peas for later? And I said this because there was this homeless man. I don't actually know his story, funny enough. He doesn't really talk, but he used to come to the church all the time, like all the time, and you would see him around. Do you know what I mean? You know that homeless man that you see,
in the area, local.
and he will always have coins on him, and he would save his coins. He would actually save his coins in his handkerchief. Like, so when he probably asked for money, maybe he wasn't hungry right there and then.
Yeah.
But obviously,
For later.
I'm going to be hungry.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm thinking, am I right now going to be in the middle of a mix of judging who are you, what are you doing with the £1 I'm giving you? And sometimes you're like, no, it's 30 pence. I'm going to go to work tomorrow, even if I am broke, because I'm not a rich girl out here. Even if I give him my £1, it seems deep, but I'm going to get £1 again. I can ask Divine, bust me £1. Then you can't ask somebody else, he's got no more opportunity to make money later. Do you know what I mean? So if this is his job, this is his job.
Yeah.
I've got to then just be like, more fool everyone else who scams the system. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Melissa?
No, I'm agreeing.
Oh.
It's a tough one. You never
know, yeah.
But at the same time, growing up where I grew up, excuse the term, but a crackhead.
From by far.
I was about to. I'm glad.
You can just look at them and you just know. You can tell. I personally can tell exactly what drug you take, and I've never taken a drug a day in my life. Do you understand? Just by looking at your eyes. Some people aren't like me to know them things, but I personally do know.
100%.
You understand what I mean? So it's kind of like, again, sometimes people, as you're saying, Tanaka, do save their coins or what, but that's just from my personal experience of what the lady did to me at the time. There's been all the videos on YouTube and Facebook where they're really not actually homeless.
Yeah, do you remember that video? That old lady. Do you remember that?
There's all those things that you've got to take into account. And yes, you will get paid another day, and it's you doing it from the goodness of your heart. But at the same time, like, it's one of them things where one can make it bad for all, and it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad.
It's just like people who still benefits. Sorry, Mali.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
People still benefits where my man actually needs benefits. And now, every time you see a council estate, some people think, oh yeah, council estate, whatever. Do you know what I mean? People be thinking, okay, you in a council estate. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Go on.
It's true.
Melissa,
it's true. Yeah.
Question for you. Because everyone in here is, well, we're young or whatever, around the same time when you went through the situation, and there's probably people listening that are around the same ages. What's the best advice to, you got what I'm trying to say, not even the be all and end all, but just little things, just small things that you could do that probably you don't pay attention to? Because this is what I'm saying, like, when you think of homeless, you just think on the roads. Now, obviously, I live with my mum, so I'm not thinking, I'm going to be homeless tomorrow or blah, blah, blah. But a couple payments missed or moving out. This is what I'm saying. I'm getting older now, so I'm looking to move out soon. Moving out. God forbid, you get what I'm trying to say. But something could happen to my pet or my close family, or where I ain't got no one to directly rely on and whatnot.
Yeah, which is what happened to me, because my mum passed when I was 18. So it's kind of like, if my mum didn't pass, I would have been homeless. I couldn't have been homeless. Do you know what I mean?
Hear ya.
But I would say, in what aspect are you saying? What advice are you talking generally, or a specific
How to avoid
thing?
it.
How to avoid it.
How to avoid it.
How to avoid it? What I would say is, not any disrespect to anyone that gave me that advice at the time, but what I would say is, get professional advice. I know sometimes we do trust in the people that we're closest to, or whatever, friends that you've known for years, or family members, or whatever. But it's best to get the right advice, because if I didn't listen to those people and I probably went and gone to Citizens Advice Bureau, they would have given me better advice.
But didn't you say you talked to your home officer as well?
Yeah, but that was later.
Yeah.
Oh, it was after.
That was the housing officer was a little bit of a cow, if I'm honest.
This is
but
what
when you went to Citizens Advice Group, they're already peed with you anyway. They're just like, or whatever, because you're just another statistic to them.
100%.
You understand? So especially, I'm not going to go there, I'm not going to say that, but yeah, they're narcissistic to them. So whereas if you go to a citizen advice bureau, it's their job, and a lot of citizen advice bureau advisors, they are actually volunteering, so they're
so it's genuine stuff. What's it called? Sorry,
Citizen Advice Bureau.
Yes,
You can go to them for anything.
I'll tell you straight. I don't know about no citizens advice.
Man lives in his own bubble, you know.
and just make sure you get there early in the morning, otherwise you run out of time.
But listen,
be there from 8 in the morning.
Somebody said, honestly, I've never thought about talking to a homeless person before. I think the stereotype of their circumstance being drink related makes you not want to help them. But I definitely give change to homeless wherever I can. And I think that's the thing what we're doing here. We're trying to change perception. And I don't want to be out here. It's not a race thing. It's not. But especially for my black people, I think we kind of feel like black people sometimes maybe aren't homeless.
We are stingy with money though.
Do you know what I mean? And you forget that it can happen to your own. Like, Melissa is black to everyone who's listening. And also, sometimes I think just because there's more white coloured people in this country
who you'll see on the street.
That you see on the street.
Yeah,
so it's just a thing of racial that's who you're going to see on the street.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, I don't know, I just think to remember like up in the hostels, like that's homelessness.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When someone's staying in a hostel, usually that's, I don't have anywhere to stay, so you put me up. Do you understand what I'm saying? And they can't really support themselves. And just to be aware, that's what we're doing it for, because it is cold, and I think we're all quick to be like, oh, it's cold.
Yeah, and then like obviously listening to Melissa's story, knowing that it's not just, oh, you just being lazy, oh, you just missed a payment because you don't care. Like it's actually a genuine situation that's happened, because then
100%.
people who actually end up in situations like that, especially being black, you'll be so prideful to not even tell anybody what you're going through.
Yeah.
Because you think that automatically going to judge you as being this and being that, when really and truly
100%.
it wasn't actually me. Actually, this just happened.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
But the difference with me is I don't actually care. Like,
Oh, well, yeah.
myself, I really actually don't care, and I will put you on game when I let you know how this goes. And just in general. So I'm not really.
You need that though.
I more like to tell my story, because I've been told before growing up, you chat your business too much. I'll prefer to talk my business to help someone else.
Facts.
Because if I'm prideful and I'm not going to laugh at it, right about that, your opinion doesn't count. That's number one. And number two is there's someone else out there that probably is very prideful and ashamed and whatever that won't speak out. But when they see someone like them,
I'll do it. Yeah.
they'll be like, all right, cool, I'm not the only one, or this is what I'm going to do.
To be honest, it was such a big topic to defrost it. We've only got 15 minutes left to the end of the show, but it's just to raise awareness, guys. Don't be so quick. I'm going to say, my piece is to say, everyone say their piece. Yep. I'm going to say, don't be thinking, how did my man get there? What's my man going to do? Why has my man got a dog? Do you know what I mean? And also remembering the risks of like ladies being on the streets, all of that stuff. Like there's risk to it being on the street. Do you know what I mean? Them lot get beaten up a lot. You know what I mean? There's stats about that as well. So just remember this winter when you say, oh, it's cold, and you're at the train station or you're waiting for your cab, and you're like, it's cold, and you can see my man sitting there. If you're cold and you're going yard, boy.
Yeah, I would just
I think a very good thing, a very good thing that people could do for people that are homeless on the street is, say for instance you do, because everyone is different, so it's not a thing that we should even judge each other for how we deal with a homeless person, as long as it's not being wicked. It's just one of those things where if you don't want to give money because you're afraid of whatever you're afraid of, or whatever you're going to prejudge, you can easily, and okay, it's more than £1, but you can easily go and get a sleeping bag.
100%.
Easily. Do you understand what I mean? A couple blankets, old blankets that you've got. You know, us as black people have always got these duvet pillows. You can go and you can see, and you can just go on one street and just give.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I would add to that as well and say, especially at this time, that's what Tanaka mentioned earlier, at the time that it's like, it's cold now, Christmas is coming. It is one of those things where, just be mindful. Like, if you've got a spare blanket, I've got enough blankets at home, and I'm probably the worst person for it. I've got so many blankets at home, I can get rid of all those blankets and give it to them.
On blankets.
This is what I'm saying. Like, I can get rid of the blankets and give it to one of them. Like, it's nothing to do that.
Offer a tea.
Do you get what I'm saying? Offer a coffee. Like, even at home, I'm saying, if you're a 9 to 5 person, you pass a homeless person every single day on your way to work. When you're making your coffee in the morning, pick a second one up for them when you're on your way to.
Anything, Mali?
Will only cost you £4.80, £4.60 for the two from Costa.
Promotion, That's what I was about to say. Like, especially like town and stuff, because there's bare homeless people in town. There's how many food shops? There's cheap ones. You might not even necessarily eat from there, but just something decent that you can pick up where you walk past. You'll see a homeless person, especially in town. So if you are going through town, have it. You got what I'm trying to say. This is advice for me as well. Just boom, go past a food shop. All right, say if I buy this, the next homeless person I see, give him it. Give him it.
All right, cool.
All right, guys, that's been that. Obviously, it's we like to keep it different. on the Micro Podcast. You guys are going to get to know. The spin is always different. We could go from banter 1 minute, relationships the next, business the next, and something deep like this today. Thanks, Melissa, for joining us on the Microwave. Shout out. And next, we're going to play a little song for you guys right now.
Look it out and see ya.
That's a tune. I'm whining. I am whining. Who's that?
So that was it was what's it called? First Time by Krept and Conan after their new album featuring Spice and Tory Lanez.
Yeah, I've not heard that one still. That was a little tune.
And then before that we had I Like by Kojo Funds.
That's
and
my banger still.
Wizkid. My listing.
So we're going to do a quick shout out, which is what we always do. Thank you guys for tuning in for Let's Do For. Shout out to Banji, Nozi, everyone who's listening, Aisha,
everyone who's been tweeting us, I begged. Everyone who's been messaging us, snapping us.
Actually, we did get a request about getting a Twitter, so that's going to be set up soon because I know some people would like to find it.
Yeah, look out for all the
socials. Message us on Snapchat. But shout out to everyone who was listening, and shout out to a few charities that we had to contact, Divine.
Yeah, so shout out to Street Kind UK who let us know how to approach homelessness, and you can follow them on Instagram and Twitter at Street Kind UK, and they've also got an Amazon wish list, so you can basically go on the Amazon wish list and buy something from it, and then it will get sent to the charity, which will then give to the homeless.
Do your bit, guys. Let's all try help do our bit, but also like Melissa said, I like that. Don't judge others in how they do their bit. That's nice.
Yeah, true.
That was
true.
nice. Also shout out, like, there's this thing, what they called?
Schools Fade.
Skulls Fade in Manchester. What they do is they basically go around, set up barbers and just trim the homeless men. Like, that just shows how you can help. You know what I mean? Any way that you feel like you can do this. If you bake cupcakes for school, bake one extra. Do you know what I mean?
And they also do this thing where you can sponsor a chair. So if you want to sponsor a chair for somebody to get their trim done, shape done, all of that, then you can do that. So that's School Fades. So obviously follow us on Instagram so that you know all the charities that we're talking about.
Yeah, so we're going to move on to the last segment of the show that we do every episode, and that is What's Cooking. Mali?
What's cooking this week then? We've got the first one is the Help to Buy ISA. Deadlines.
Convenient house, homelessness.
For real. The 30th of November. It's a savings account. Divine, tell us a bit more about that one.
Yeah, so the Help to Buy ISA is basically a savings account for anybody who wants to eventually buy a house, which I'm sure we all do.
So basically just go to your local bank and see if you can get it. If you've got an ISA, some banks are really a bit funny because you can only have really one ISA, so you have to shut down one ISA and maybe potentially open it on a different bank for the Help to Buy ISA. And basically, if you have it for about 4 years, you can probably save $3,000.
And anyone you know as well that's just over the age of 16, so even if you have like little cousins, little nieces, nephews, all of that, involved. Make them jump on it as well.
And what's the best interest rates? So
I've heard there's
Barclays 2.58%, and then underneath that is Nationwide and NatWest at 2.5%.
Then
the next one.
10 for vendors. That's Divine's own. We had one yesterday.
Yeah. So we had one yesterday. All vendors. So online businesses came to promote and sell their products, and we've got one more for the end of the year, which is in 2 weeks' time. So the deadline for that is tomorrow. So anybody who has an online business who wants to sell or promote their products, then get at me or go online www.10forth.com and just literally hire out your vendor space.
Just to jump on the back of that, similar to that, if you guys want to check out Kumba, which is basically the same thing but for AFS.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So if you want to try send your thing to Africa or whatnot, do you know what I mean? Something similar like that. So shout out, go online, go on Instagram and just look for Kumba, and it's a little bit of like a AliExpress kind of vibe, 10/4 kind of vibe, but for the AFS.
Okay.
Particularly Zims.
And just to add, because I said it 2 weeks ago, but I was a bit, I got a bit busy, which is my fault. She's from Brum. So anyone listening that's got their stuff that don't know Divine but know me, tell me and I'll give you all the information and whatnot, and we'll get on it. Message me. As soon as you message me, I'll get it sorted for you. The next one we've got is the Fully Focused group. What's the deadline?
That's 6 days. So if you guys feel like you've got a talent, whatever that might be, just go on to Instagram and search Fully Focused. They are the ones who've made like a lot of the films that you watch on YouTube, Drawing Out, all of that. Go and, fill out the application form.
Presenters.
And,
comedians.
Shout out Fully Focused.
Content creators. Yeah. This goes on.
You got 6 days, guys. 6 days.
So yeah, I guess that's that.
With that being said, guys, I think we've come to the end of the second show. Tune in the spin with us another time.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and interact with us on Instagram because I'm out here talking to myself.
That's not new. All right, cool. We're gonna go out. Shout out Pi Radio again. Actually, we're gonna go out with Black Eyed Peas. Where is the love?
Hey.
Show some, yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime now, Divine.
Oh please.